What up, sports fans? Happy Monday. Happy NBA Finals Day. Welcome to episode 15 of the Cine-Men Movie Podcast presents Sports Breakers. What up, Boo? What up, Craig?
What up? What up? What's going on?
I'm your host, Juan. I'm joined by the man, the myth. Too hot to handle. What up, Craig?
Hottie too Scotty? Or Scotty too hottie?
Man, it's hot.
It is hot. It's been a hot week. It's going to keep getting hotter.
That's so disappointing, man. It's June, but you know what? 90 days, man. We're in the middle of September. We're state fair time. We're college football, NFL just a few weeks away. We're smack dab in the middle of some OTAs are kicking off, some training camps getting underway in the NFL, man. Sports is here. But while we're on the subject, before we get into some football, man, tonight, Game 5, NBA Finals.
Correct.
You think Boston closes it out tonight?
If I do recall, I said Boston was going to win in 5 before the series even started. So I do think they get it done tonight. I don't think that they absolutely tried their hardest. Game 4 down there in Dallas. I do think that they really feel like they have a good grasp on this series, and they're going to win it tonight. I think they want to do it in front of their home fans on their home court, be able to really celebrate. Because it's been a long time coming. I mean, they've been so close yet so far for so many years, and they finally put together a good run. I think they get it done.
Man. NBA Finals tonight, yeah, Game 5, man. If they don't get it done and they go 3-2, they go back to Dallas, right?
Yeah, back to Dallas, 3-2. I mean, they got up 3-0, but if Dallas wins 2 in a row, things might get a little interesting. But
a lot of people are also saying Boston just gave up that game just to win it in front of their home crowd. You think that's true, or do you think anytime there's a championship on the line, you want to just hurry up and put it away?
I think more so Dallas was more so in survival mode. And Boston may have wanted to, maybe they came out and they're like, if we win it, we win it. Maybe they got over complacent since they were up 3-0. So I think it might have been just a little bit of mix of that. Dallas is playing really high because they have to, and Boston knows that if we don't win it tonight, we have 3 more chances. So
it's true, man. Other than some basketball, man, what else have you been kind of excited about these last few weeks? I know we didn't have a conversation last week, but anything big changing? OU winning a 4th straight softball women's championship.
4th consecutive.
They beat Texas too.
Big time, yeah. Beat Texas. Texas was the number 1 overall seed. They looked really good coming in, but OU just has. There was something about that senior class that was different about them. You know what I mean? Like they, from year 1, they had been in the biggest of moments. They went to the World Series year 1. They went to the World Series year 2, year 3, year 4. And Kenzie Hansen, the catcher, had been there for, I think she was a 5th year, maybe with COVID and everything, but there's a lot of leadership on that team. So like they just were really able to kind of withstand anything that kind of came against them and keep it together. One of the most, if not the most decorated class of all time in any sports, sporting event. So props to them. It was a lot of fun to watch that class. But softball portal's closing today. The big time pitcher from Stanford, Kennedy, she hit the portal today. A lot of people are speculating it's OU. None of us know for sure yet, but if she comes to OU, she's got 2 more years. You might watch out because OU's freshmen were really good. They stepped up when the seniors didn't step up in the World Series, and then they have that. Supposedly, they have a really good freshman class coming in, so it'll be fun. OU and Texas are playing in the SEC next year softball. Which, if you looked at the softball field of the top 16 teams, it was like 8 of them, 9 of them, maybe even 10 were, if we're including OU Texas in that number. I think it was like 10 of the 16 were from the SEC. So, ridiculous amount.
Man, um, yeah. How's everything else been, man? Sports been fun. To me, honestly, I want to get back to the NBA Finals for just a minute. It kind of has not been as entertaining as I had would like it had to been. Do you? I mean, I know that some of the games have been like a little close, but mostly I felt like Boston has just dominated this series.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. Boston, they built up a good roster. Um, Dallas isn't hitting their shots. Um, so, I mean, when you're not hitting your shots, and Boston has the team and the depth that they do, I mean, you're always going to be fighting an uphill battle.
You think they'll be like a team to come in the next few years? Like they could start. Maybe they have a dynasty on their hands here.
Coming out of the East, yeah, I mean, it would it would be a failure for them to not make at least 2 more finals in the next 5 years. Be a big time failure for them to not make 2 more finals.
Because they were in it last year too, weren't they? Or they
No,
lost in
they
the
were in it in
Eastern.
22 against the Warriors. They lost in the East Finals to the Heat
Oh,
last year.
okay.
I believe that's what it was.
And that game kicks off in just a little bit, right? 7 o'clock, 7 p.m.
7:30.
Yeah.
So
So should be maybe the next time we will by sure the next time we talk to you guys we'll crown an NBA champion.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so should be pretty interesting. NFL news and notes. Uh, Jaguars quarterback Trevor Lawrence got paid. He got paid.
He got paid a lot.
Yeah, five
Um,
year extension. Oof.
do you see what your man Acho said about that? I believe it was Acho.
What do you say?
How Trevor Lawrence got paid for the things that he did at Clemson, not
Ooh,
necessarily what he's done in the NFL.
ooh. I don't necessarily think I agree with that.
What has Trevor done in the NFL to justify being the highest paid? Doesn't this make him the highest paid, or is it like the top five?
I think right now, currently, he's the highest paid quarterback. Yeah, right now. I mean, honestly though, without Trevor Lawrence, would the Jaguars be in any of those games last year? Would they have won the division title his first year there? Would they have been in the mix for a division title his last 2 seasons? I don't know. I
It depends. I mean, 'cause if they don't draft him, they have somebody who is a bust, or they had a vet and he's gone, and they go after somebody else. I mean, they could have been in the running for Russell Wilson. They could have been in the running
don't.
for.
I mean, don't give me that Russell Wilson stuff though. I mean,
No,
that's
I'm just saying other quarterbacks could have been there.
that's true. That's a good bring up, but I think right now what they have, and let's not forget, I kind of disagree with Sam Acho saying he's been paid for what he did at Clemson. He's also being paid on what he can do for the Jags in the future. You have a quarterback like that for Jacksonville. Free agency comes up. Big time receivers that hit free agency are going to want to go play with a big time quarterback,
Right.
especially if Jacksonville has the money and they want to dish out some money to bring talent to Jacksonville. I mean, that's what re signing Trevor Lawrence does for them. It sells tickets, it sells jerseys, and let's not to mention he's a really good player.
Yeah, I mean, hell, Atlanta paid freaking you like that. All that money. I don't think he's even that good. I mean, we want to talk about somebody who hasn't done anything. That guy hasn't even what the NFC semis is as far as he's gone.
You talking about Vikings ex quarterback?
Yeah, the Mister you like that. Yeah, Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, no, I mean that's a different organization, different kind of. I
It's
don't
like they
know.
paid him because they have to. Like they had to get to the cap.
Well, they also, I mean, also looking at it as like you're in the NFC South. I think a quarterback like Kirk Cousins could win that division with how easy it is.
Right.
I mean, you only have to compete with Tampa Bay and Baker Mayfield. It looks like.
You better not slander Baker and Shep. Going to be in there. Uh, I think they have a really good shot at winning that division again. Tampa. My
That's
bad. Let me
true.
shut this off.
It'll be good. I'm not. I mean, I'm not. I never wish uh, bad on any team, but I think it'll be interesting to see how Baker Mayfield handles that success and tries to come back for a year or two in the NFL. Same head coach, same surroundings.
This will be the first
Um,
time he's been in a
yeah,
back-to-back situation since
since he's been in
01.
college. Yeah,
No. Oh well, I mean, having consistency, yes.
yeah.
Yeah, Browns couldn't be consistent to save their life.
And
So
and every year he was in Cleveland, he had a different offensive coordinator. So this will be the first time that he's had all that back to back. So,
yeah,
but we're not here to talk about the NFC South yet. We're here to talk about the AFC South. We've talked AFC West. We've talked AFC North. Now let's talk AFC West or AFC South, and talk the division that Trevor Lawrence is in. Kind of see what I did there? Nice little
yep.
keeping
Lead
it in,
in, nice lead in.
keeping it in house. The division winners last year were the Houston Texans. The surprised Houston Texans um, took a huge leap with the progress under D'Amico Ryans. Um, you also have now they're adding Stephon Diggs, Joe Mixon, Danielle Hunter, the defensive end. Um, Last year they went 10-7,
Yep.
winning that division championship on a Saturday night against the Indianapolis Colts. CJ Stroud has wowed people. Um, but the potential Achilles heel for this team is the hype around the Houston Texans could disrupt the chemistry, maybe. Um, Sophomore slump for CJ Stroud, any kind of maybe injuries. And then can D'Amico Ryans keep this team grounded? Uh, what do you think? And then their biggest offseason loss was Jonathan Greenherd, defensive end. Um,
But they brought in. Didn't they bring in Hopkins?
DeAndre Hopkins. He was with them last year, wasn't he?
Yeah. Who did? God, they
They
brought
they
in.
they they just brought in Stephon Diggs and Joe Mixon.
That's who it is. Yeah. I mean, we had talked about him a couple. At this point, it feels like months, but probably was. But we talked about how close their games were. Where yes, they were 10-7, but they had a lot of games that were swing games last year. So um, as far as keeping the team grounded, they have no reason to not be grounded. I mean, yes, they were a surprise team. I don't think CJ Stroud is that kind of guy to be like, oh, look at me, look what I did, type flashy. I think he's, from what I've seen, he seems pretty humble and pretty down to earth. I think you want that as a leader. I think he's very confident in himself. But I mean, like I said, you're adding. I think Joe Mixon was a good ad. Stephon Diggs could be a 50-50. I mean, when Stephon's good, he's good. When things aren't going right, he's got a little OBJ in him when things aren't going right. And you could obviously see that when he was up in Buffalo. When he's good, things are rolling. When it's not, you can definitely tell that there's issues on the sideline, and it leaks out onto the field.
Yeah.
But you're adding two major players on the offensive end to give CJ Stroud weapons, which he's going to need because
And
now
they,
teams have a full year of film,
yeah.
the concepts. They're going to learn what he likes, what he doesn't like.
And
Um,
I like his attacking the middle with their tight end. What's that? The guy from Dallas.
yeah. Oh, he was a guy that was cannot remember his name to save my life. Uh,
Me neither.
Schultz, Dalton Schultz.
There you go.
Um, I think they have a ton of offensive weapons this year. I don't think that they had a lot of holes to be filled on the offensive line. I think they were pretty solid last year. Um,
And it's not like they went in and won and done. They won a playoff game.
yeah,
They dismantled the Cleveland Browns, which was a lot of people's eyes one of the top defenses of the league.
yeah. And what was that? It was like 42-13 or something like that.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. And then they got bounced out by the Ravens, correct?
I believe so. I believe
Yeah.
that is correct.
So, but ultimately, we'll start with the reigning defending conference, or not conference, but division champs, Houston. Man, they finished 10-7 last year. I think.
I think they grow on it.
You think they grow? What are you
I'm
predicting
I'm,
their record?
I'm gonna say 11-6. I don't think they grow by much because, like I said, last year they had a lot of swing games. But I do think that they win just one more game than what they won last year, but the games are more convincing. The games that
So
they do win, they go out and they prove that they're supposed to win those games.
so you got them winning the division?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm gonna have to agree with you. I think the Houston Texans are legit. I think they become. It hurts me to say this. I think they become the best team in Texas next year, and I like this. I got them at 12 wins. I got them at 12-5, winning the division, uh, and CJ Stroud proving that he's all that he can be. But I like the way D'Amico Ryans coaches this team on defense too, and I like to see D'Amico Ryans win Coach of the Year next year. I think that'd be great.
Well, let's
So,
look at their first month of games. So 4 games. You have the Colts, which Anthony Richardson's coming back from an injury. You have the Bears, rookie quarterback. Vikings, rookie quarterback. Jags, you can say what you want about that. I think they start 4-0. Then they go and play the Bills 4-1, 5-1. If they're legit, they probably go into Buffalo and win that game. Patriots, Packers, Colts, Jets are their next 4. I mean, they are set up extremely well. They have a tough stretch towards the end of the year: Dolphins, Chiefs, Ravens. Then they end it with the Titans, but yeah, their final first stretch of the season, pretty easy. That second stretch, Jets, Lions, Cowboys, Titans, Jags, Dolphins, Chiefs, Ravens. They could go 4-4 in that stretch. They could also go 6-2 in that stretch. But I like their odds to win the division. I don't think they're as much as a lock as the Chiefs, but
yeah,
I think they're up there.
yeah. Yeah, no, I agree with you. Indianapolis has always had a slow start, kind of, so I see them winning week one. Uh, Sunday night against the Bears.
Oh yeah, yeah. Uh, Sunday night prime time. Yeah,
And you know what? Some of these games that we think are a given, man, they might be in the thick of things when it comes to the Jets, Green Bay, the Lions. Now, that's a pretty tough stretch.
yeah.
Uh, Colts, Jets, Lions, Cowboys.
I mean, and by that time, Anthony Richardson might have the offense humming because they were
Yeah.
they were the Colts were pretty good whenever he was getting going. So, um,
Oof. We're gonna see what they're made out of though, because after that bye, they have you already talked about it, but Miami, Kansas City, Baltimore, Tennessee.
yeah, that's a tough 3-game stretch. If you,
Man, can I take back my 12 wins? No.
what's a successful stretch in that? 2-1, or is 1-2 successful in that?
I think you got to win at least one. But
That's
the
tough.
good,
Hi, Johnny.
hey, but you have both Miami and Baltimore at home, so that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Um, and then at Kansas City, depending on what the weather might be. What do you think of that though? Week 17, Christmas Day on Netflix. What do you think about the NFL on Netflix?
Uh,
Are you a fan of it?
I'm not, because for a day like Christmas, all games should be accessible and free on major holidays. Is how I feel. They should be ABC, NBC, CBS. I don't Fox. I don't care what they're on. Games need to be free those days. And I understand the NBA is ramping up. NBA has a big day. It's on ABC, and I know I'm curious what all games are on that day. But yeah, games should be free on those major days. Um, Friend of mine said the Bears are going to go 6-12. You think they win 6 games? I know we're
No,
talking
no,
about
no,
the
no, no,
division,
no.
but
I think they win. I think they can win 6 games. They won 6 games last year, didn't they? Didn't they win some games last year?
I'm going to be honest with you. I think Justin Fields is by far better than what Caleb Williams is going to be this year.
Uh,
Even though Justin Fields struggled, I Caleb Williams might be the fourth best quarterback this year. This year might be the fourth best quarterback in the draft.
oh no.
I mean, others might not even get to play, but I think JJ McCarthy might have a better year than him with the Vikings.
Oof, that's insane
I
to think about.
I just don't think I don't think Caleb has it. What Caleb was built on in college is is backyard making plays when there isn't. He wasn't. Riley does not teach his quarterbacks, and that's why Kyler and Baker had such a hard time adjusting. Is Lincoln makes it so easy for the quarterbacks to read the field, and Rattlers talked about this, how he was so limited with Riley's scheme. I think that adjustment period might not be good. He's not going to be able to run away from everybody like he did at USC. He was good. He was elite. He was incredible. Yes, but that was against college level players. And you're stepping on a field where everybody's fighting every single day because it is their job. That is how they get paid.
I think that'll be a really fun conversation when we do finally talk the NFC North, um, especially breaking down their games and looking to see what they're doing. Um, yeah, man, yeah, I can't wait. That we have all these different teams. We just can't wait to fucking talk about. I think it'll
It,
be.
and we'll get to the next team in the AFC South, but
And I mean, yeah, we have one more AFC division to break down next episode, and then it's on to the NFC. So this should be fun.
I was going to say, as far as football goes this year, NFL and college. The NFL, you have the rule change where the kickoffs are going to be XFL style.
Um,
You have all these new. I mean, it happens every year, but the Chargers are going to be a completely different team. The Broncos, the Steelers. There's so many different teams that are usually pretty good that had a major facelift, and just I think we're going to see a team sneak out of nowhere that's going to be really good this year. I don't know who, but I feel like there's going to be a lot of parity in the NFL this year, and then we move over to college, and Pac-12 is no longer there. No more Pac-12 after dark. Or after dark, it's
Yep.
now probably Big 12 after dark. But you're going to have all these new matchups every week. You're going to have all these teams, games, time slots of just. You're going to have to say, do I want to watch Ohio State, Michigan, or do I want to watch OU, Alabama? I don't know if those weeks are on the same week, but this year is going to be incredible for sports or for football, especially. I just, we'll see what happens in the basketball offseason, but football this year is going to be, it's going to be incredible.
Let's talk the Jacksonville Jaguars next. Last year they went 9-8. They fell apart down the stretch last season. They couldn't get back on top of the division. Trevor Lawrence and company, he's now getting paid. Um, their biggest offseason addition is a pair of wideouts, free agent signee Gabe Davis and first round pick Brian Thomas Jr. Um, you still have wide receiver Christian Kirk out there on the end. Evan Ingram is in there as tight end. Um, and then their biggest Achilles heel, man, uh, they got one of the worst offensive line in the league. They had a
Yeah,
hard time running the football last year, uphill, downhill, and yeah, Trevor Lawrence. You can pay him all you want, but if you can't protect him, can't run the ball, they're not going to do very good. And then they lost Calvin Ridley, wide receiver,
it's
to
tough.
the Titans last year. So this is their biggest off season loss. Um,
I think ETN has a good year this year. If
you
if
think
the line is able to hold up, I think he is. I mean, because he was injured his first year, came back. He's had a rough couple of years because the line's been bad, but I think he might have a not necessarily a breakout year, but he'll have a year where he becomes a stable running back one.
and they got a tough opening week, man. They opening month. September they play at Miami, home to Cleveland, at Buffalo, at Houston.
Yeah,
1-4 to start the year.
Dolphins is a loss. Browns will probably be a loss.
At Buffalo, at Houston. They might
Bills is a
start off
loss.
0-4.
It could be 0-4.
And then they have it doesn't get any easier. The month of October they have Indianapolis, the Bears, the
In London,
Patriots.
which
Oh,
you never know, that could throw that entire mojo off.
yeah.
So
Jacksonville does play good in London though. That's like their home away from home. Um, then they play the Patriots, and then they finish up October with the Green Bay Packers. They could easily be 2-2 that month.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah,
November's tough. They start off with at Philadelphia, Minnesota Vikings at home, at Detroit Lions. They got a Week 12 bye, and then they start the month off of December with Houston, and then Tennessee, the Jets, and then
the
the
Raiders,
Raiders, the
Titans.
Titans, and they finish up at the Colts. Mm,
They have a brutal first half of the season, man. That's their first half of the season is Houston's back half.
yeah,
If if Jacksonville starts if somehow some way they go 4-1 in that first half of the season, you might find a bet to take them as the division champs halfway through. Because if they're able to go through that brutal part of the schedule at the beginning, the second half it's tough, but there's a lot of I'm not going to say gimmies, but there's a lot of easier games second half of the season. So
I
if
got, mm,
they get
I
through
got,
that first half, look out.
I don't see them. I got
I
them
don't
winning.
either, but
I got them winning 5 games on the year. I'm gonna predict them going 5-12. And I see.
Um,
I mean, if you want me to point out their wins, I see them beating uh, Indianapolis once. I see them beating the Bears. I see them beating Minnesota.
I got them winning seven,
I see them
six,
beating New
six.
England, and then I think they get one from Tennessee. I think they split with Tennessee.
I don't think Tennessee's that good. You
Me
lost
neither.
Derrick Henry
Me neither. But I still think they
just because
win
it's the
one and
division.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go six. I think it's unless injuries happen for some of the teams that they play, or Trevor
He just
Lawrence
starts
just
balling out.
starts lighting it up. Their their ceiling. Let's go ceiling and low. So a low would be six for me. Their ceiling can't be much higher. Say they do win both against Tennessee. You split with the Colts 3. You beat the Raiders. Maybe Aaron Rodgers isn't healthy down the stretch. Beat the Jets, which is still tough because their defense is really good.
Yeah.
Um,
I think it all depends on what Trevor Lawrence does. Honestly, if he comes out and he throws 40 touchdowns this season, almost 5,000 passing yards, I think they're in every single game, and their ceiling for me could be 9 wins again. They could go 9 wins.
yeah,
But that's if Peyton Manning. That's if Trevor Lawrence gets up and grabs this division by the throat, and he just becomes the Peyton Manning of this division.
yeah. Um, I mean, they could still. I don't see it, man. I don't like. I don't like their team composite. I don't like what they're made of. They lost some pieces.
I still think Trevor Lawrence is the best quarterback in the division. I'll make that statement.
Even with CJ Stroud looking like he
Yeah,
did last year.
yeah. I think he's grasped the division. He's won tough road division games. He's won the division title a few times. This is his make or break year as far as like what he can do with not that much work around him.
It doesn't have to be make or break. He's already got paid.
Yeah. But I mean,
And
he's gonna have those naysayers. You paid him all this money, and here he is winning 5 games this year.
but
I
then
don't think.
guess what? Guess what? Say they do go 0-4 in that first month. If he's, I mean, I would assume he's mentally tough. He's been through a lot, but you go 0-4 and now your team starts doubting the quarterback that they just paid $55 million for. Your O line can't hold up.
Yeah.
Receivers start dropping balls. It could roll downhill very quickly if they go 0-4, 1-3, even 1-3. I think it could go downhill pretty quick.
Yeah. Uh. So yeah, I got them winning 5. How many did you say you got them winning?
I'm gonna go 6.
6. Let's move on to a lot of the favorites for to win or not win the division, but at least come up second. Let's talk about the Indianapolis Colts. Last year they went 9-8. Their last division championship was 2014 with Andrew Luck, man. Um, and they had a narrow loss to Houston. They would have won it last year. But you have Anthony Richardson coming back. You have Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman Jr., Josh Downs, and then they add rookie Adonai Mitchell. Biggest offseason addition, uh, Leatu, Latu, defensive end, if I said that correct. Um, so that's their biggest off-season addition. The thing that the Colts kind of, their Achilles heel would probably be the inexperience of Richardson, wouldn't you say?
Um, the health of him, yeah. But you look at their schedule; it's not daunting. I mean, there's some games in there,
And
yes, that are
let's not forget he's not a huge off-season addition, but they did sign Joe Flacco to quarterback 2 just in case Richardson goes down again.
who balled out
Yeah.
last year.
And the biggest off-season loss for the Colts was Zach Moss at running back. He had a really good 1-2 punch with Jonathan Taylor. So he had almost 800 yards on the ground. So they lose Zach Moss. But yeah, let's get into the Colts schedule. You want to go? You want to call it off?
Yeah. Start with the Texans. Um, I think that's an L off the bat. I just think,
Even though it's at home in that dome.
yeah, even though it's at home, um, I think the Texans were excited. Well, are because we're still just now kind of getting into the OTAs and everything. I think they're excited to get back at it with the success that they tasted last year. I think you still might have some time during the offseason where Anthony Richardson might be, taking some time to heal himself, might, just when your main piece is kind of out like that, who didn't really have chemistry to begin with, I think that puts some damper on it. Houston's actually a 2-point favorite, even though the Colts are at home. So give me the Texans early. So Texans, Packers, Bears, Steelers, Jags, Titans. Not many games in there. I say they do automatically lose. I think the Bears are fairly winnable. Titans are fairly winnable.
You think they lose to Green Bay too?
I don't know what to think of Green Bay. Is Jordan Love good? Is he not? He looks really good at some points in the season. He doesn't look very good at all, and
Yeah.
others. It's you'll be able to see very early on the direction of what the Packers season will be. I think their first 5 games are all toss-ups. I don't think there's guaranteed wins. I don't think there's any guaranteed losses, except I think the Texans is a guaranteed loss in my eyes. But Packers in Lambeau. It's at noon, so it's not going to be too rowdy. Could sneak that one out. I think you beat the Bears. Steelers depends on Russell. Jags is a 50-50. Then you go down. You got the Titans or the Dolphins, Texans, Vikings, Bills, Jets, Lions. Fairly tough schedule there. Bills, Jets, Lions, again, depends on how healthy the Jets are. Patriots, Broncos, Titans, Giants, Jags. And it's... You look at the schedule, and like I said, there's really Dolphins, Bills, Lions, you might say are guaranteed losses. Everything else is kind of 50-50.
Yeah, I think they go 9-8 again. I think they're going to have back-to-back seasons of 9-8. I think they'll barely miss the playoffs again.
Yeah.
So
fire Mike Tomlin is what somebody just said.
Man, I don't agree with that, man. He just signed his extension.
It's a joke. He has a friend who's a Steelers fan that says Mike Tomlin should have been fired, and we both laughed at him. But yeah, I'm going to agree with you. I think you split it down the middle, 8-9, 9-8. You don't know what you're really going to get out of the Colts. I know they have a good makeup, especially with their wide receivers, and Anthony Richardson did show that he can play. All just depends on if he's healthy or not. So I think that 8-9, 9-8 is a good medium for them. Which these records might not even make sense if somebody were to dissect it. Well, they can't go 9-8 if they, but whatever.
No, they can go 9-8. The Tennessee Titans. Can they be a surprise team? It looks like, is Will Levi going to be the starting quarterback? They have Calvin Ridley, Tony Pollard, Tyler Boyd. Some big season acquisitions, obviously, is Calvin Ridley. Opposite DeAndre Hopkins plays for Tennessee. Um, and then their biggest Achilles heel, unproven quarterback in one. Offensive line is shaky. Uh, Biggest offseason loss is obviously Derrick Henry. What this is going to be, what are they going to look like with Tony Pollard back there? Tony Pollard kind of proved to everybody what he can be as the number one runner, which was obviously not good. Tennessee, I don't know why you go out and get Tony Pollard. He just proved to you he can't be the guy. Um, and then they went 6-11 last year.
I think they keep that same record, in my opinion.
So let's kind of dive down their schedule. The Tennessee Titans, man, I don't know. They are a team that you would think just continues to fall apart. Week 1, they got at Chicago, uh, the Jets. Week 3, the Packers. Week 4, Miami, and then they have a bye week, and then they start off October with the Colts. So
Yeah.
those first 4 games, 0-4. I don't think they beat Chicago opening day. They can't score. They can't score against the Jets. I think the Packers light them up, and I think the Miami Dolphins light them up.
Yeah. Monday night too. That'll probably be a snooze fest with
Yeah.
versus the Dolphins.
They got an early bye too, week 5. God damn.
Which
Mm.
that hurts. That
Yeah,
hurts. That
yeah, it
hurts my
does.
soul.
Yeah, especially you got a young quarterback that probably don't know what the hell he's doing.
Yeah. Um,
Weeks October starts off the Colts, Buffalo, at Detroit, New England Patriots. Ugh. They get a win in there.
Colts, Bills, Lions, Patriots. I was thinking Patriots. I feel like they have that new coach. Was it Gerard Mayo?
Yeah.
Um,
Gerard, don't call me Dukes Mayo.
who knows what that team is even going to be, compiled of or looking like, So
Mm.
the Patriots could be really good, but they're probably going to be really bad. Not even really good, just like mediocre. I think the Patriots on the lower end, so I would say the Titans probably steal that game.
It's at home too. It's in Nashville, so
If they beat the Patriots,
there's some breathing in November at least. Uh, Again, like we said, Patriots November, at the Chargers, home to the Vikings, at Houston in November.
yeah,
There's a little bit of breathing room in there. They could go 2-2 maybe in November.
in November,
I think they beat New England, lose to the Chargers, beat Minnesota, lose to
lose to
Houston.
Houston. Yep. I Chargers is
Chargers are iffy always,
I have no faith in Harbaugh having them set up right for
dude.
they
But
couldn't they didn't have it set up right last year and they had all that talent and they lost literally everybody.
look at, I mean, we talked about them last time we talked division, but look at their homework, their history, all the way back to Philip Rivers and LaDainian Tomlinson. They
Yeah.
always have the talent, and they just shake it all away. So December kicks off with at the Commanders, home to Jacksonville, home to the Bengals, and then at Colts and at Jaguars.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah.
Maybe they beat the Commanders, but I think the Commanders have the better quarterback. I think they have a better team too. So
Yeah. Lose to the Jags, lose to the Bengals, lose to the lose to the Colts,
and
lose to
then
the Jags, lose.
yeah, week 18 in January, Houston, another loss maybe.
Yeah. Man, I said what I say for them. I didn't say anything for them yet.
Mm-mm.
They might be looking at 3 wins. If they have more than 3 wins, it's a successful season for them. Because that's
Yeah, I see
I mean,
them going. I see them. I'll make them. I'll pick 3 and 14.
you got a bunch of, I'm not going to call them, no disrespect to NFL players, but let's be honest. Tyler Boyd's not your main guy. Tony Pollard's not your main guy. We saw he can't be the main back. Calvin Ridley's not a main guy. Uh, who knows if he even stays active? He could bet on himself again.
Same thing with DeAndre Hopkins.
DeAndre Hopkins has been in and out of lineups for the last 5-6 years. Um, it's probably going to be a rough year for the Titans.
And they're not coming back with head coach, right? Didn't they fire uh,
Vrabel,
Vabels?
I believe they did.
So, man, yeah. So it looks like yeah, we both got Houston winning this division, and the Colts coming in a second favorite.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I think we can all agree the Titans finished last. I think the Jags have a chance of being pretty good, but I just think that they're closer to their floor than they are their ceiling. But like you said, it all depends on Trevor for the Jags. If he balls out, they could easily win the division again. But he hasn't been that consistent, so I'm gonna just piggyback off of what I saw most recent, and I'll probably be recency bias, but Houston looked good at times last year, won 9 games, and they added better pieces than any other team did.
mm-hmm.
Other teams lost pieces, didn't really get a lot of, top end talent. You're adding Joe Mixon and Stephon Diggs to go ahead and go on with Dalton Schultz and the receiving core that you. What was his stats last year, CJ? I mean, he had. Let's see. I mean, he was putting up 400-yard games with. He had 4,000 yards passing, 23 touchdowns, 5 picks.
Hmm.
You put up 4,000 yards passing with the receiving core: Nico Collins, Tank Dell, Dalton Schultz, Noah Brown, Robert Woods, Damian Pierce. Like, those were your primary receivers, and you had 4,000 yards passing in your first year. Nico Collins was the only one to break 1,000. You're adding Joe Mixon, which is a good receiving back out of the backfield. I know he's older, but he's still, if you're not utilizing him as your, first down back or the starting back, Texans are going to be dangerous this year, man.
What'll be fun is the next time we do this, we are going to finish up the AFC, and we'll talk the AFC East. Buffalo Bills, New York Jets, the Miami Dolphins, Buffalo Bills.
Patriots.
New England Patriots. There we go. I
Yep.
said Buffalo Bills twice. Bills, Dolphins, Jets, Patriots. That'll be a fun little conversation with all those storylines, man. New look Buffalo. Aaron Rodgers is back. New England without Belichick. Dolphins.
The Jets went 7-10 without Aaron Rodgers.
That's dangerous, man.
I mean,
you flip that, maybe they go 10-7 or 6 or 10-6 or 11-6 with him.
Yeah, because I'm almost positive. Aaron Rodgers wins you 4 more games than Zach Wilson does.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I mean, let's not forget, everybody thinks that he's dead and gone. He is. We can bring somebody on the show to argue if they want to, but I still think he is the greatest quarterback in the league right now.
A-Rod?
Yeah. He has one injury, one off injury, and people write him out. And I know he's older, but man, I think he's still the better quarterback in the league.
I mean, you got to go Pat, right? Off just pure
Just
ability to
just
win.
just 'cause- I mean, he's got the same win loss record as Dak Prescott in the last 5 years.
But
Just
it's the ability to win when it matters. Like, yes, Rodgers might put up gaudy numbers, but I mean, we haven't seen him in a couple of years. He's coming back from a very, that's a tough injury to come back from for football. You're stepping back, you're planting every single play, you're turning, you're cutting. I mean, it's not an easy injury to come back from.
I mean, you got to look though. He's like Aaron. I mean, that's true, but Aaron Rodgers is also like look at what he's done the last few seasons. His last year in Green Bay, 3,600 yards, 26 touchdowns, 12 picks. The year before, 4,100 yards, 37 touchdowns, 4 picks. 2020, 4,300 yards, 48 touchdowns, 5 picks.
So you take the average of those 3 years and maybe tone it down just a little bit, just because of the injury and age.
Hey, I'm sure the Jets would also take another Aaron Rodgers at 3,500 yards, 25 touchdowns, 10 picks. I would take that.
With the defense that they have, yeah.
Oh yeah, I for sure would take Aaron Rodgers right now over 95% of the quarterbacks in the league right now.
I mean, you have
Top five
um,
quarterbacks right now off the top of my head. I would pick Rodgers, Mahomes, Prescott, Joe Burrow, uh,
Josh Allen.
no,
You don't think Josh Allen's top five?
Lamar Jackson.
I don't think.
Josh Allen has thrown away just as many games as anybody else. The fact that he can throw and he can have a game with 3 or 4 picks and nobody busts his balls for it is baffling to me.
I would take Josh Allen over Dak every day of the week.
Over Dak?
Yes.
No,
Yes.
no.
Yes. They couldn't get over the hump against the Chiefs. That's literally the only team that's kept them out of the Super Bowl. Whereas Dak Prescott looks pedestrian against the Packers, the 49ers, literally anybody that you put against him in the playoffs. He looks like he just doesn't know what he's doing anymore.
I mean, he had a rough spot against the 49ers. The Packers, who knows what the fuck happened to that game? But everybody else he's kind of dominated other
Regular
than
season wise,
other than the 49ers.
uh,
It's almost like Josh Allen every other throw is an interception. Dak Prescott at least had like almost 2 months of throwing no picks. And then not to mention he wants to take off with the ball and he'll fumble almost every chance he gets he's like that quarterback you get in Madden. Every time you get a hit stick, that's your ball.
I
And now you take all those players away from Josh Allen this upcoming year, and he has nobody. My top five going into the league, he's not in the top five this year. At least going into the season. I'll even switch. I'll switch it. I'll put Lamar Jackson 4, Dak Prescott 5.
no Brock Purdy.
Who?
No, he's just.
But I still the whole conversation. I think it's just Aaron Rodgers is still top two.
Just purely based on ability to read the field and arm strength and knowledge of the game. He has to be the top because nobody else. I mean, if we're looking at active quarterbacks with Super Bowls, it's Pat Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers,
You're not talking backups either.
Just pure starters that have won the games.
It's just those two.
That's it. That's all we have in the league right now that are. Joe Flacco was a
Oh,
backup.
Russell Wilson.
Come on now, let's be.
I mean, he's technically a starter. He's got a Super Bowl.
But we
Nope.
saw his fall. He was healthy and couldn't get it done. So, even though it was in Denver, but Russell Wilson's not a top 15 quarterback right now.
No, but I'm definitely excited to see what Aaron Rodgers can do, man. I know at one point in time I would want to talk trash amongst this guy as much as I could, um, and I think overall it's just that organization. I think it's just the
The
Packers.
Packers.
I think it's just the way
The
they knock
Packers.
they knock my boys out of the playoffs every year. But then also look at the way they treat the old lion, man. They done that with Favre. They done that with Rodgers.
Yeah.
So that's another interesting thing to keep an eye on is Jordan Love's contract status. They're going to pay him and make him the man, or are they going to quietly shake him out of the room? Same thing with Prescott. That's something to keep your eye on in the next 6 to 8 weeks. Dak Prescott says he is ready to talk free agency next year if they don't get a deal done. So,
well, they haven't paid CD yet, have they?
no. But with that situation, they were waiting to see what happened with the Justin Jefferson situation. Minnesota paid him. Now Dallas knows what numbers to give him to make him the highest paid receiver in the league. So, and I think they kind of did the same thing with Dak. I think they were waiting to see how much Burrow and maybe Trevor Lawrence got paid to see what they want to throw numbers wise at Dak. But I don't know,
If
man.
they keep Dak, they don't keep Parsons.
I think Jerry Jones is. There's a reason he may be biding his time. I don't know. I don't think you're about to just throw $65 million a year at a man that hadn't got you 3 playoff wins.
Can't do it.
$65 million.
The Jags kind of have to do it. They don't have anybody else on that team to pay.
Yeah.
Dallas has players that they can pay, and they need to pay ahead of Dak Prescott.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting, man.
Namely Micah Parsons.
Yeah, but I do have to say, man, I know it gets tough losing in game management situations, but Micah Parsons, just like everybody else on that team last year, he gave up a lot as well. When the games got tough, he gave up some too. You could tell. And I don't know if that's just the culture that they want to provide in Dallas, but something has to change. You're
We all
supposed
know what has to change,
you
but it
also
won't happen.
you supposedly, are being compared to LT and one of the greatest defensive players of all time, and you give up on certain run plays or you give up on trying to get the quarterback, man. I mean, come on. National TV, everybody's watching you. But
To
that's
be
another
fair, he played like 98% of the snaps.
that's true. But that's a whole nother conversation for another time. Anything you want to add on to before we get out of here and check out the NBA Finals Game 5?
I don't know when I called it, but I said the Florida Panthers were the real deal this year. They're up 3-1 in the Stanley Cup Finals. I look to see them hoisting that trophy fairly soon. They'll probably close it out Game 5 as well, which could be tonight. If it's not tonight, it's tomorrow. But it's Tuesday. It's tomorrow. So Panthers will probably close it out tomorrow. Celtics will close it out tonight. Congrats to the OU softball team. 4 straight. Omaha is in full swing. Men's College World Series is in full swing. So sports are slowly coming to an end.
No, don't say that. The Olympics are right around the corner. We still got plenty of wrestling we can talk.
The Olympics are coming around the corner, but that's a couple of weeks away. If not, it's like what, July 17th?
Yeah.
If we're gonna say the Olympics are around the corner, might as well be talking about NCAA football.
Well, let's take a look at this. But the next time we talk sports, man, it's going to be Monday, July 1st.
Um, might have
So
to move that to July 2nd.
okay,
That is the day that both OU and Texas are being officially introduced as members to the SEC. OU is going to have a big thing down here at Norman Stadium, equipment sale, all that stuff. So I will probably be down there checking out those festivities. But
well, the movie podcast in July is moving to Tuesdays.
okay,
So that first episode is Monday, July 2nd. So we'll figure something out.
July
Um,
1st.
yeah,
Tuesday, July 2nd.
yeah, that's the movie podcast.
Yeah. You said
Yeah,
Monday, July 2nd. So it's
my
like,
bad.
I
So
mean, we
yeah,
can do Sunday or Wednesday. I don't care. But
okay.
I'll probably be out that Monday.
So yeah, man. And then July, next thing you know, it's July, and we'll be talking training camp 2 days. The next division that like I said, we're getting into 2 weeks from today, um, or we could even just do next Monday and take off July 1st if that works with you.
Yeah, we can do that.
So next Monday looks like we'll talk AFC East. You guys, if you guys want to get on and talk sports, talk some sports trash. Me and Craig, we're professionals. We know how to talk trash. We've been talking trash for years and years when it comes to our sports teams.
We were born into the trial, like
Yeah,
molded by it.
yeah. So hit us up on the Facebook page, facebook.com/the Cine-Men Movie Podcast. The Instagram is all one word, the Cine-Men Movie Podcast. X is at Cinnamon405. Or you can email us at cinemen921 at gmail.com. So yeah, hit us up and we will talk uh, AFC East next Monday. Anything else you want to add, Craig?
That'll probably be one of more tougher divisions to call, but I think we're at like 28 days, 27 days till college football video game drops. I will be streaming that a lot, so I'll probably drop my Twitch channel in here if
Yep.
anybody wants to check that out. But can't wait. Just June needs to just finish up. Once we get to July, it's going to fly, and the season will be here before we know it. So, but these next 2 weeks, man, it's going to be tough.
Yeah, definitely hit us up. Don't forget this Sunday, the 23rd, we'll be talking Demolition Man, episode 302 on the movie side of things on another new episode. And we'll talk to you next week on the Cine-Men Movie Podcast when it comes to sports. AFC East next week. Have a good week, guys.